one thing that I do have experience with is dealing with depression and anxiety and just like very poor mental health, and along the way I've picked up some things, so hopefully the things I've picked up will be helpful to you. And those two things are the power of vulnerability and releasing victimhood. So a bit about my backstory. Like I said, I have struggled with depression and anxiety throughout my 20s, now being 26, and I think I only really came to a point of being on the other side of that last year in September. And during that time, those like 5 or so years, it would oscillate from like really serious, debilitating, kind of like life-threatening depression, where it's the point where one time I was in uni abroad, my mom had to come and live with me for 2 months because I dropped out of all of my classes in the middle of semester. I couldn't cope. I was constantly crying, just no will to live. I wouldn't leave my bed, so she was basically there to make me get up and bathe and eat and like force me to go to counseling and all of this type of thing. I was super happy growing up, super chipper, but I didn't realize that I was repressing a lot to maintain the state of being that I was in. My family, I grew up in something that was like very totalitarian. I had both parents, but mostly one, who was very, very hard on me. I used to get beaten all the time for small, well, in my mind, they felt like small things. And in those moments, it would also be like, okay, I've been beaten and I wasn't allowed to have normal emotional reactions to it. So like, let's say my parents are beating me, I'm like, okay, I don't really like you guys that much right now, let me go be in my room. So that taught me basically that certain emotions were bad. I wasn't allowed to feel angry, I wasn't allowed to feel sad, right? And it also taught me that my feelings were a nuisance or an inconvenience and they shouldn't have been heard by others or felt by anybody else. So I went through life successfully like this, just repressing everything that was negative or that wasn't helping anybody, until that moment in my 20s where I just broke down and I faced depression, I faced anxiety, and basically emotionality became my new normal, despite it being like something that I never dealt with prior. So my next slide has to do with vulnerability, getting into that notion of vulnerability. Because yeah, now I was by force a vulnerable person because I couldn't help being super emotional. So the definition that I found of vulnerability is the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed either physically or emotionally. So that's a very negative definition, and I feel like oftentimes when we think about vulnerability, that's the same feeling that we have. It feels like it's something unsafe. It feels like it's something that we don't want to do. But in less than like the definitive like sense, colloquially we just typically think of vulnerability as being emotionally open and letting people see those parts of ourselves.